Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Wayne Canning, and in this video series we're going to be repairing this Catalina 380. It's a model year 2000. It took a hard grounding and I recently purchased it as salvage, and we're going to be making the repairs needed to bring the boat back into good condition. We have some keel damage and some fiberglass damage, so we'll be going through that pretty thoroughly. The first step in any repair like this is really to assess exactly what you have. We bought this boat sight unseen and had it shipped from New Jersey to here in Oriental, North Carolina, where we will be doing the repair. Alright, before we get started on fully assessing the needed repairs, I'd like to talk a little bit about how and why I selected this particular boat. Now, we had been poking around on the internet looking for a boat that might better suit our cruising needs, and we had liked the Catalina 380 center cockpit. Now, I happened to come across this Catalina 380 aft cockpit, which had a lot of features of the center cockpit, but again, it was an aft cockpit. I found this boat on the Cooper Capital website. Now, Cooper Capital is a company that specializes in liquidating insurance assets, primarily marine assets. And I happened to come across this Catalina 380 up for auction. It looked like a really nice boat. It showed really well in the pictures, and you could tell it was in generally good shape and well kept. Low engine hours, nice clean interior, nice clean exterior, the canvas looked good. It had everything going for it except for the damage to the keel from a hard grounding. So the next step was to try to contact a surveyor to take a look at the damage so I could have a better feel for that. Due to inclement weather, I wasn't able to get a surveyor to come out and look at the boat. But I did get the location of the boat from Cooper Capital, and I contacted the boatyard where the boat was being stored. My intent was to just have them go out and take some more photographs of the damaged area so I could get a better feel for it myself. Well, as it turns out, this was the same yard that had put the bid in for repairs to the insurance company, which caused the insurance company to decide to just total the boat out. After talking to the owner of the yard, I got the impression he was bidding very high. He wanted to completely replace the keel with a brand new keel, which seemed excessive to me, and he had quoted taking a good part of the interior apart to get at the inside of the boat. This also seemed a little excessive. Now, I know boatyards in general will estimate fairly high when it comes to insurance claims. One, you never know what you're really getting into, and two, insurance money seems easier to get than owner money. So yards tend to estimate a bit high. Given that information, I decided the boat really had potential. So I decided to go ahead and place a bid. Now, in determining how much I was willing to bid, I had to look at the overall value of one of these boats in good condition. And they seemed to be selling for around $100,000, which gave me some room to work. I also had to figure in the cost of transporting the boat from New Jersey to North Carolina, where I would be working on it. Adding the expense of getting the boat to North Carolina, along with what I estimated the expense of doing the repairs, I felt there was a pretty good margin in there where I wouldn't get underwater in the boat, so to speak, meaning I wouldn't have more in the repairs than the boat was worth. So I went ahead and put in a bid for $25,000. And kept my fingers crossed. After a couple of weeks, Cooper Capital contacted me and told me I had the winning bid. Now, at this point, I did have the option of backing out, but I decided to move forward and go ahead and purchase the boat and have it transported to North Carolina. And that's where we are now, getting ready to make the repairs. Okay, let's first take a look at exactly what happened to this boat. Now, I was able to get in touch with the previous owner, and he told me he hit what he termed a large chunk of granite. he was apparently under full sail and hit pretty hard. So let's take a look at the keel for starters. Taking a look down here, we can see where the boat had actually contacted the large chunk of granite. And you can see it took out a little bit of the lead here and we hit pretty hard. This is fairly obvious. So what I'm going to have to do to this is clean this up and probably cut this section out and apply a new piece of lead to this. So we're going to apply some new lead over this. We're going to glue it and mechanically fasten it on there so that we're not missing any lead anymore. The rest of the damage is around back, so follow me. All right, as we can see, the boat apparently bounced over whatever it hit and came down on the back of the keel. And you can see there's some damage here, some damage to the lead, as well as some fiberglass damage. There's also a little bit of damage back here. Now what happens when you hit something hard like this is it's going to twist the keel, pull down on the front, and jam up on the back. And if we look up here, we can see that there's some distinctive fiberglass damage right at the back of the keel. And if you follow me over here, we can see that there's some additional cracking showing up in the paint. Okay, what we're going to want to do is try to assess the extent of this fiberglass damage. Now we could start grinding it out, and that would give us some good clues as to just how extensive it is. But to start with, I'm going to do a little bit of tap out. This is from my surveyor days when we used to try to find delamination. So I'm going to carefully tap, and I can hear some hollow in there, but not too bad. This side sounds a little better. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but there is a slight difference. Now you can hear definite voids in there. Right in here, we can tell the difference. You can hear a bit of a hollow. So that fiberglass in here is definitely fractured. Actually, this in here sounds worse than up here. That sounds pretty solid, right, except for around there. But this has a very distinctive, and it comes up to about here. Right about at the end of the crack, but we've definitely got some failure right there. So we're going to want to look at that very carefully. Oops. Got a little bit more cracking in there that's noticeable. Yeah, we're definitely going to want to check this area on the inside pretty carefully. What we'll do is we'll remove the bottom paint without getting into a lot of grinding, just so that we can inspect the condition of the gel coat. We're also going to have some fiberglass damage back here at the end of the keel. And you can hear that glass is loose. This will be a relatively easy fix though. Once we remove this glass, we'll clean up the lead, reshape the lead, and reglass it. So that'll be relatively easy. This is more structural in nature. We'll check it on this side as well. And we can definitely tell there's some voids in here too on this side. You can hear that. It's not as extensive as the other side, but I can see the cracking goes all the way up here. You can see some cracking in here. This is more stress cracking up there. It doesn't sound like the laminate's fractured. Down here we have a real failure. We can also see that there's some minor damage along the side of the keel. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now come up here. We want to make sure also that there's no fiberglass damage in the front, because if we're pushing that up, this is going to want to lever back down. And I can see showing in the bottom paint that there is some hairline cracking in there. But the tap out sounds okay. What I'm going to want to do is remove some of the bottom paint in this area and just inspect the gel coat, and I'll also check it from the inside to see if there's any signs of cracking in there. I'm not quite as concerned about this, but there is some signs of potential damage. I'm also looking over here, which I didn't see before. Some distinctive cracking in here. That's actually, most of that is on the glass that comes over the lead. And I don't think it really goes up very far. But you can hear that. There's a void there. Some voids in there. So this is going to have to be opened up and inspected too. I think that's just kind of a failure of the glass that comes down over the lead, so you don't have that joint. But we're definitely going to want to make sure that's in good shape too. Okay, we're also going to want to take a look underneath the keel to see if there's any obvious signs of damage there. And it really does not look like it. We've got a little bit on this edge here, but underneath the keel looks pretty good. So whatever they hit, I'm guessing they bounced over it or slid by it until they hit it in the back. So let's go up in the boat and take a look up there. All right, we're inside the boat and it's time to try to look at things inside. The floor here has been kind of opened up and removed, so we have a little bit of access. But as you can see, the batteries are here in the way and we've got a lot of stuff. And then there's the fiberglass liner, so it makes it a little bit difficult to get in here. But taking a quick look and looking in the holes a little bit, I can see some cracking of the fiberglass in here. Not too bad, but access is a little tricky. We may have to take out some of these battery wires. There's a pump for the air conditioner and a strainer. I'm probably going to have to remove that out of the way. Coming further forward up here, I can definitely see some more cracking, mostly secondary bonding in here. So I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit so I can get better access to it. I'm more concerned about back here, and we're going to have to get in underneath these batteries at some point, and I'll just have to figure out what we got to do. We got to take the batteries out of there and see what we got. Coming up further forward here, we have the teak and holly floorboards down here, so I'm going to have to remove that and see about getting better access in there. So these are going to be the first things to do is open up and get as much access as possible. I'm also going to want to come in here and do a little protection. Put some covers over the cushions, cover up the floorboards that aren't going to be removed. Just make sure I don't do any more damage to the boat. So the first step in this is going to be getting everything removed from the inside out of the way so that we know exactly what we have. We're going to have to do that before we get the grinders and other heavy equipment out, one step at a time. All right, so obviously the first thing I have to do is make a list of all of the materials and tools I'm going to need to get started. We're going to want some vinyl to cover the cushions and stuff. I'm going to need some driver to get the screws out for the floorboards and stuff. And I'm going to want basic tools to remove some of the equipment in here. Now as I go, I'm going to want to photograph things so I know how to put it back together. So I'm going to want a camera as well, just to document things as I take them out. And I'm going to want some masking tape. So tools, masking tape, and we're going to want to label things, so we're going to need a marker so that we can label any wires or connections that we take apart. And that should be good to get us started. We probably are going to want some work lights so that we can see what we're doing. And I know we're going to forget things, but we'll just get them and add them as we go along. Time to get started. Thank you for joining me in this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you learned a little something along the way. Please take the time to leave some comments down below. And also, if you found this video helpful, I would appreciate it if you could become a patron or perhaps make a small donation through PayPal. Your funding helps me continue making these videos. Thank you very much. Fair winds and following seas.